You want to see bucks, big bucks, firsthand? Well, we have them every February gathered together at our annual Stroh's Hunting Awards banquet. This year, over 100 sets of big buck antlers from the 1987 season, along with the biggest of the elk antlers, adorned our trophy board. This banquet was held this past Saturday night, and if you weren't one of the 600 who showed up, we're going to bring you the highlights in just a moment, so stay tuned. I'm Fred Trost. It's Thursday night, time for Michigan Outdoors.
From the rugged shore and woodlands of the north, its history of copper mines and iron ore, the Great Lakes fisheries. To the farmlands of the southern counties, we'll look around again at all that waits the sportsman in the state of Michigan. And sometimes when the moon brings out the diamonds in the snow, and the stillness of the forest lies encased in Arctic cold, the wind might whisper through the trees, listen if you can, it tells you of the beauty in this state of Michigan.
Saturday night, February 20th, our 7th annual Stroh's Hunting Awards banquet was held in its new location, the Lansing Civic Center. Over 130 trophies on display, white-tail bucks 10 points or larger, or ones with points and spread that total 28 or more, along with trophy elk, bear, and turkey. Now, what do you feed a hungry crowd of hunters? A carved round of beef was the star of the spectacular buffet catered by Coils of Houghton Lake. Chef John McKenzie had a spread of baked chicken, lasagna, vegetables, salads, breads, appetizers, desserts, lots of food for everyone, and plenty of choices. It worked out so well that John McKenzie is going to cater next year's banquet, which will be held again at the Lansing Civic Center. After dinner, we started the awards program with our featured trophies. In 1987, we had 92 tom turkeys entered with 8-inch beards or larger, and 3 wild turkeys taken by bow hunters. The largest was a 24-pounder with a 12-inch beard, and the largest at the banquet was taken by a first-time turkey hunter. All right, now we have Ken Parrott, hunting Oscoda County, got an 18 3/4 pounder with a 10-inch beard. You were stalking this bird? Which one? Are you Kenny?
Yeah.
Kenny? Whoa. I thought I was going to be talking to the big tall guy.
No.
What's the story behind this?
Well, I missed it the week before, and then we came back, and I got it on Mother's Day.
For your mom?
Yep.
Was she pretty happy?
Yeah.
Now, how old are you?
12. Well, I was 12 when I got it. I'm 13 now.
Okay. Well, that's great. Your first time, obviously, hunting
Yep.
turkeys.
Yep.
How you like it?
It was fun.
I bet. Are you going to learn to call yourself, or did you?
No, I didn't. I'm not that too good at it, but I want to learn.
Heck, you're only 12. You got a good future ahead of you. Congratulations. Kenny Parrott, what a guy. That's the biggest turkey here this evening. While turkeys are the smallest of our big game, the most dangerous quarry is the black bear, especially for bow hunters. The Stroh's Award minimum is 250 pounds. 3 were taken last year with bows, 2 with handguns, and 6 with rifles. The largest, 650 pounds. But a 250-pound black bear's a big one. And this is Ron Arnold, who was hunting Luce County, baiting the bear in, not using dogs, but baiting, got a 265-pounder on the 10th of September.
Well, I went up there the couple weeks before season and scouted the spot out, and went up there 2 days before opening day, and the bear was hitting my bait, and I started laying bait out. And opening night, I went out there about 3 hours before dark, and he come right in at dark, and I shot him.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Every bear hunt doesn't go that way, you know.
Well, that was my first one, and I don't know about next year, but I'll be up there next year.
Well, congratulations, an outstanding story. We had worked out for Ron Arnold, a 265-pounder. The big game animal that attracts the most attention in Michigan is the white-tailed deer. 6 were entered by handgunners in 1987, 6 by muzzle loaders, 76 by bow hunters, 207 by rifles, and 211 by shotgunners in southern Michigan. That's 506 whitetail entries in all, and as usual, it wasn't just the seasoned veterans who took the big bucks. 12-point buck with almost a 20-inch spread. How many years you been hunting?
1.
Just one?
Yep. My father's gun, my boyfriend's shells, Norman Redfield's blind,
I see.
and I just got lucky.
Why did you start hunting this year? Was it your father or your boyfriend or?
My boyfriend, I got sick of watching and not hunting. My Uncle Jimmy got me buck fever and just wanted to try it.
So how do you like it?
I love it. I can't wait. I can't wait. I want
wait.
to try both.
Well, I tell you, when you see the picture of this buck, it is quite impressive. Congratulations on that. Hope you have a long and successful career. A dandy buck, a big spread, long tines. Barbara Petrov's story happens time and again. A first-year hunter gets the buck of a lifetime. But Tom Morley's story is one you don't hear very often.
Well, kind of a little story here. Early in bow season, I seen 7 bucks in a little hollow, and I was bow hunting, and I happened to get run over by one.
Run over?
Yes, I was heard some deer early in the morning, and I knelt down, and some ran in front of me. I was in some tall grass, and I knelt down and heard some more deer coming, and one ran me over, and I had a broken rib, and 2 other ones, the meat tore away from it, so I was off work for a while.
From a deer accident?
Yes. I felt kind of embarrassed for a while, but and then during rifle season, I shot this one Thanksgiving morning.
No kidding. What's it like to get run over by a deer and break your ribs?
It hurts.
Was it a buck or a doe, or could you see?
I don't know. I kind of getting close to your quarry.
And surprisingly, we heard another similar story at the banquet, which you'll hear on a future Michigan Outdoors show. And while Tom Morley's story was dangerous, listen to this one about an unusual deer hunting team. Fred LeBlanc, hunting the famous Jackson County that produces some mighty big bucks, got a 9-pointer with a 22-inch spread on the 24th of October. Should have been pheasant hunting then, shouldn't you?
Well, I like that too, but I like deer hunting a little bit better. This was an unusual deer story for me, as I got home from work, run right out into the woods, got up the tree stand, and I was just screwing on the game tracker string when I heard this noise, and I looked down, and it was my daughter's kitten at the bottom of the tree. And I thought, how is a deer going to show up with all this racket? And I was contemplating what to do, and that cat climbed up the tree and got right between my feet. And then that cat sat right on top of my foot. About that time, I looked out at about 60 yards, and I could see these antlers and this deer, and it kept coming towards me. And at 40 yards, I was getting nervous. At 20 yards, I was shaken. 15 yards, I regrouped. And at 13 yards, it turned broadside, and that's when I shot the animal, and it ran off. And I had my game tracker string, and it was academic from there.
And where was the cat during this time?
That cat never moved off my foot till I had to get it off my foot. And as I was climbing down the tree, I grabbed it off the stand, set it on my shoulder, and we went down together. And that cat stayed with me, and we tracked the deer down together.
What a story. What a story. Man hunting with a cat.
That's a true story.
I don't...
Everybody at work wants to buy that cat.
I bet. Well, congratulations, Fred LeBlanc. What a story. Okay, the last of the big bucks of the evening. With a shotgun, Berry County, a fellow named Scott Campbell. A 23.5-inch spread, an 18-point buck. Which one is it? This one?
Yep. This one here is the droppings from it from last year.
So these are the antlers that came off it. You found these in the woods?
Yes, my father did. He'd been hunting the deer for 3 years, and I got it after 15 minutes of hunting opening day.
How many years you been hunting?
2 now.
Did you get a deer last year?
Yeah, with a truck.
With a truck?
Yes. This is the second one this year. The first one was with a car.
I mean, so last year you got a deer with a truck. This year you got a deer with a car, and then you finally took one with a shotgun.
Yes. This is the first buck.
First buck just turns out to be the biggest buck of the evening, possibly the biggest buck in our trophy book. 41.5 is the score. It has a 23.5-inch spread with 18 points. Congratulations on that buck, Scott Campbell. Geez, that's terrific. That is 1987's largest Stroh's Hunting Award whitetail points plus spread. shadowed only by our largest game animal in Michigan, the elk. On the annual limited hunt this past season, more bull elk were taken in past years, and the herd is still growing. 14 bulls, 10 points and up, one with a handgun, and the largest rack of the season was Ed Arthur's 8x7, 15 points with a 61-inch spread.
In my opinion.
Boy, take a look at these antlers. Well, there's really some curves and twists to these tines on there, especially that side over there. Boy, that is a
You got 4 foot of deductions just about on Boone and Crockett.
4 feet of deductions because they don't match. 47 inches. Boy, that's something else. So this was a thrill of a lifetime.
Oh, definitely, definitely. It was just great to get the luck of the draw. The hunt started on October 20th when I got the notification from the DNR. And the next day I hired Dennis, and he started scouting for me. Well, we got up there and we lost this rascal for about a month. And it took us 3 days to find it. When we found it, went out the next morning, 120 yards shot right through the heart, 3 hops. It was mine.
That's great. Well, came close to being the biggest, 658 pounds on the weight, 8x7. Congratulations, Ed. Outstanding. There it is, the biggest rack of the evening. Ed Arthur. What a hunting awards banquet it was. Tomorrow night, the fishing awards banquet in Midland, wrapping up our Stroh's Hunting and Fishing Awards for 1987. Big events for us in Michigan outdoors. Here's a recipe that's designed for trophies or any kind of game, not just venison. Jan DeMarco from Holt says wild game fry can be used, I imagine, with a lot of things. We use venison.
Absolutely. It's like your basic stir fry. This could always be great with like elk,
But
partridge.
look at the way that venison steak slices. Ooh.
Very tender. You're going to make a marinade of cornstarch and soy sauce. And you don't want those pieces of venison to stay in there very long because you don't want them real strong. And they will pick up that marinade flavor in a hurry.
Yeah, and the soy sauce is quite salty.
It is very, very salty.
We'll have to get into some substitute for that for the health nuts.
Okay, we did use corn oil here, so, and you're going to put crushed garlic in it, and it should fry in a hurry, and it does. And then, like I say, you don't want this to sit very long, so you're going to go ahead and add the marinade and all right to the hot oil. And it'll cook in a hurry here because of the cornstarch. Then you got your vegetables, which is all in one package here. I think Jan's got a good idea.
This is obviously it's going to be a very flavorful recipe.
Oh, absolutely.
It has a lot of oil and salt.
Yep.
Two
And
things that
consomme, that also has a lot of salt in it. I got a little bit of sweet red wine here.
Now this is something, Kath, that we haven't had in a recipe for a long time.
No.
Wine. You know, we avoid the wine because so often it masks the flavor
Yes,
of
and
game.
this does not at all. Just gives it just a little bit of sweetness here.
Well, she only called for what, a quarter
Quarter
cup?
cup, yep.
Just a little
And
bit.
then you're going to add your brown gravy mix to make
That's it.
nice gravy.
Wild game fry, it's very dark. Of course, venison and game meat, a lot of it is dark, even the cauliflower and those mixed vegetables. Except Garner's plate is just
Not
a white,
dark.
a little bit of rice left.
I've got some rice left, but the one thing this recipe does is it leaves the venison very, very tender, and it is flavorable like a stir fry recipe. You can taste all of the vegetables around it, and the venison tastes really good too, and very, very tender.
They just blended together very well.
And easy to make.
Oh, absolutely. Any kind of recipe that's done in one pan is, you can't beat it.
Wild game stir fry, it's one that you could use with a lot of different meats. You could use it with probably chicken or beef.
Turkey, anything.
An excellent recipe, Jan DeMarco from Holt. Thank you.
What is the key to survival of deer in a bad winter? Staying active or staying still? The more a deer searches for food, the more calories it burns, and in bad winters it can't get enough food to replace this lost energy. Staying still will help a deer survive the longest.
There's no deer hunter I know who wouldn't get goosebumps over seeing a buck in the woods like this. Most of us never do. But 17-year-old Greg DeNoyer from Dexter not only had the thrill of seeing one, but bagged this trophy by stalking it in November in Washtenaw County. 15 antler points, a 21 7/8 inch maximum outside spread. Whoa, that's a trophy of a lifetime. And another trophy of a lifetime, a 27-pound northern pike, 42 inches long. Terry Dowland from Mount Morris caught it on April 25th. Now don't start writing letters, April 25th. Terry caught it in Lake Huron off Huron County. The season never closes there, so Terry's trophy is perfectly legal. Bill Burns from Belding caught this 6-pound, 3-ounce largemouth bass from Murray Lake in Kent County, casting a plastic worm the middle of June. Dick Conley from Clio caught a smallmouth bass the end of May, still fishing a wiggler in Elk River, Antrim County. Now that bass was 21 inches long, weighed a couple ounces over 5 pounds. Well, I've told you about those Au Sable River walleye. Here's a 30-inch, 9-pounder taken one night in May by Tim Robbins from West Branch. And through the ice in February came this 28-inch walleye from the Saginaw River. Harold Conley from Saginaw. He works for Channel 19, our broadcaster of Michigan Outdoors up there from Delta College.
Yes, and we just went on the air with Channel 35 in the Thumb area.
In the Thumb area out of Bad Axe and covering the Thumb. Well, you were fishing tip-up with a minnow last February.
Well, actually, I got this on a perch rig, Fred. Had his bobber on the line, pretty swift water, and when I pulled it up, the thing had the hook straight right out of his mouth like that. It just caught him through the lip right there, as you can see.
Right through the lip.
And they tell me back here, I got a table. They got 3 muskie fishermen back there, and they says they use these for bait all the time.
We'll see when we get to the muskies. Congratulations, Harold Conley from Saginaw. Like we mentioned, Harold is an engineer for the PBS station WUCM at Delta College near Midland. And those TV folks go fishing too, and sometimes end up, like Harold, as our Michigan Outdoors Trophy Angler of the Week. We get quite a few questions about fish and game laws, like this one from Bill Demler from Menominee, Michigan, who hunts snowshoe hares in the winter. He says, "We eat the meat, but instead of throwing away the carcasses, I use them as fox bait on my trap line. A conservation officer gave me a ticket saying the rabbits were protected species and could not be used for bait. I thought hawks, and owls, and eagles were protected, but not rabbits because they're hunted. Was this a fair ticket?" Well, the law says the carcasses of fur-bearing animals or non-game animals can be used for bait, but not the carcasses of game animals, because we don't want people shooting game animals just for bait. In using both the meat and the carcasses, you exhibited the best ethics, but it did violate the letter of the law. Rolling, rolling, rolling. Hey, hey! Northern pike smash the daredevils and spinnerbaits in the shallows. They battle and attract a lot of angler attention every May 15th on the annual opener. And traditionally, the season has closed at the end of February. But beginning this year, pike and walleye fishermen can spend more days on the water. The season doesn't close until March 15th. It doesn't close at all on the southern Great Lakes, and it opens at the end of April, the same as trout season, in the lower peninsula. Only in the UP will pike and walleye retain the traditional May 15th opener this year, so keep that in mind. Pike and walleye open all year in the lower Great Lakes. Inland lakes close March 15th, reopen the last Saturday in April in the lower, and on May 15th in the upper peninsula waters.
From the rugged shore and woodlands of the north, its history of copper mines and iron ore, the Great Lakes fisheries. To the farmlands of the southern counties we'll look around again, and all that waits the sportsman in the state of Michigan.
Next week on Michigan Outdoors, we'll bring you an update on our deer herd and how it's surviving the winter. A visit to a deer yard with our camera brings you these whitetails firsthand. An insight into the balance of nature, a close-up look you won't want to miss.
Sometimes when the moon brings out the diamonds in the snow, and the stillness of the forest lies encased in Arctic cold, the wind might whisper through the trees, listen if you can, that tells you of the beauty in the state of Michigan.